My name is Ethan Miller. I'm 48, and I'm a long-haul trucker. The road is my home, my office, my whole life. I wake up with the sun, grab a quick coffee at some truck stop diner like the Roadside Grill, and spend my day driving. Landscapes change, but the routine is always the same. Miles and more miles. The Sirius XM radio, my only company, and the hum of the 18-wheeler's engine as a constant soundtrack. When night falls, I either park the rig or check into some budget motel. The Traveler's Rest, you know the type. Always the same ritual, but it's in the dead of night, in the heavy silence of the truck, that the loneliness really gets to me. I think about the life I left behind in St. Louis, the choices I made. The cab, which used to be a refuge, now just amplified everything in my head. She just nodded, her eyes fixed on the darkness. She got in without saying a word, and then pointed towards some old, ruined house, way off the main road. I felt this growing unease. Her silence was like a wall. I tried again. Everything all right? She didn't even blink. That stillness just made my stomach churn. We got to the ruined house, the Whispering Waters homestead. That's what it looked like it once was, out there in Arkansas. I pulled the truck to a stop. I looked over to talk to her. The seat was empty. Just a puddle of water and that heavy, earthy smell of wet river mud. The darkness of the night just swallowed up the house, making the ruins look even emptier. The silence was so thick, it gave me a real squeeze in the chest. I felt the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I looked again at the empty seat. My heart just started hammering right then. I looked again at the empty seat, at the water puddle, and that damp river smell. My head was spinning. It made no sense. A shiver just ran down my spine. The air got heavy. I felt this cold dread in my gut. There was no explanation for it. I looked at the ruined house, then at the empty road. Where did she go? That river smell kept coming back. Dark puddles of water would just appear on the asphalt, in my coffee cup. I rubbed my eyes, trying to find an explanation. The doubt was eating away at my sanity. Was I going crazy, maybe? Every drop, a cruel reminder. The terror was real. I felt the cold water on the empty seat, a phantom dampness. Drips hammered on the roof. I hadn't slept in days. The feeling of drowning just suffocated me. The cab, once my sanctuary, had turned into a wet nightmare. I was trapped in there, with her presence. She wouldn't leave me alone. In every puddle, in the fog, in the blurry rearview mirror, her empty eyes would just stare at me, cold. My chest felt tight. I'd speed up the rig, try to run, but it was useless. That water ghost invaded every single thought. The fear was a suffocating knot in my throat. I just wanted to escape. I pushed the truck, changed interstates. Useless. The feeling of that dampness intensified with every turn. She was there, invisible to others, but real and terrifying to me. My head ached. I was screaming alone. I was losing control. Reality was turning into a relentless current. Suddenly, the cab flooded. Cold, dark water rose fast up to my chest. She was floating there, right in front of me, ethereal. those empty eyes fixed on mine. I tried to scream, but I couldn't breathe. My lungs were filling with fluid. I felt the weight of the water, the cold of death. It was real drowning, a panic just consuming me. I fought against the invisible. The water was gone as fast as it came. I just stayed there, dripping cold sweat, gasping, my body shaking. The cab was dry, the woman gone, but the feeling of drowning felt real. Death was still suffocating me. Broken, exhausted, the fear had left an indelible mark on my soul. I wasn't the same man anymore. The experience changed me. The seat was dry, but my hands were shaking. Her emptiness, it was a hole in my soul. That river smell just stuck to me, a cruel reminder of the invasion. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel. I started the engine, a distant sound. I pulled out, the ruined house disappearing in the rear view, but not from my mind. The scar was there. The engine roared, but the silence inside was heavy. My ears were ringing. The cab, once a refuge, had turned into a box of fear. My head was spinning. I tried to make sense of what happened, but it just didn't. The woman, the puddle, the smell. It was all a blur that just made me dizzy with confusion. Nobody to call. Who would even believe me? The loneliness of the road, once a refuge, had turned into a heavy burden. Just me, alone with that inexplicable horror. The road became a river. Wet pavement, puddles, the steam from my coffee. Everything was a trigger. Driving turned into a nightmare. Every curve felt like I was drowning. That wet river smell just clung to me. In the cab, on my skin. A phantom dampness that wouldn't go away, just eating away at my peace. Empty, the passenger seat had that water puddle and her shadow. The woman seemed to still be right there, watching me. Who would believe me? People would just see some crazy old man. I kept it all to myself, sinking deeper into isolation. The question kept hammering in my head. Who was she? What did she want? The lack of answers turned into poison, just eating away at my mind, making everything a nightmare. In the mirror, it wasn't Ethan Miller, the trucker. I saw a stranger with deep, tired eyes, reflecting the water that had invaded my soul. My name is Ethan Riley. I'm 30 and I'm a rideshare driver. My life? Familiar routes, hurried passengers, the constant hum of the engine. Day in, day out, the same journey. From dawn till dusk, I was behind the wheel, clocking in my shift. My car was my office, my refuge. The smell of cold coffee, the radio always on some soft music playlist or talk radio. A fake sense of control. The GPS voice was my only company, guiding me constant, reliable, but impersonal. I just followed along, no questions asked. My life mapped by algorithms. But the early mornings were worse. Silent passengers, empty stares. I felt like a ghost, just watching other people's lives pass by. The last call of the night popped up. A destination far out, off my usual route. But the quota made me accept. My GPS, my digital compass, suddenly choked. The voice died, and the screen flashed with a blank map. A strange route popped up, down an unknown road. My body tensed up. I obeyed. The car swerved hard right into total darkness. The nameless road, rough. A cold shiver ran down my spine. The radio crackled, turning on by itself with a dry hiss. Static filled the car. Then an old, off-key melody started. A lullaby gave me the creeps. My hands were sweating on the wheel. I never even touched it. I saw faint, distant lights on the horizon. I floored it, but they never got closer, just stayed out there, teasing. Despair squeezed my chest. The road felt endless. The lights, a cruel, empty promise. I tried to tell myself it was a GPS glitch, a network failure, but cold sweat dripped down my forehead. My heart hammered. None of it made any sense. Uncertainty crept in. The off-key lullaby turned into a drawn-out whisper. Lost. Alone. The voice wasn't from the radio, but close, inside the car. I shivered, chills running up my spine. I looked at the passenger seat, the rear-view mirror. Nothing. The sound seemed to be coming from inside my head. Panic tightened its grip on my chest. I tried to turn around, but the road just wouldn't end. The signs were gone. Every curve, the same spot. A never-ending loop. Cold drops ran down my temple. Trapped. A perfect snare. A feeling of being closed in swallowed me whole. Suddenly, in the rearview mirror, I saw it. A child's silhouette, distorted, still. The dim dashboard light lit it up for a second. I blinked. It was gone. My blood ran cold. My mind struggled to grasp what I'd just seen, and a wave of pure dread hit me. The steering wheel felt heavy, almost locked up. I tried to turn, but it fought back, pulling me forward. I heard a dry click. The doors locked on their own. My pulse raced, pounding in my chest. The engine revved, then slowed abruptly, without me touching a thing. The car wasn't mine anymore. I looked at the distant lights, my last hope. They started to flash, a strange, pulsing rhythm. These weren't houses. They came together, forming red eyes that stared back at me from the darkness. A paralyzing cold hit me, and I felt my sanity slipping. I screamed, a raw sound. I punched the window, useless, like concrete. The lullaby exploded, a sharp scream that pierced my eardrums, and then silence. A heavy vacuum, worse than any noise. The sound of my own pulse echoed in my ears. A piercing cold, a chilling presence in the passenger seat. I didn't see it, but I knew. It was there, invading me. The heavy air was suffocating me, but the intense cold was gone. My body trembled uncontrollably. The frantic beat of my heart and my ragged breathing were the only things I could notice. I stared into the blackness, trying to process the silence. A dry click made me jump. Doors unlocked. The engine sputtered, then rumbled, familiar. The radio was silent. The red lights vanished. The road, dark and ordinary, brought a strange relief, but the shaking wouldn't stop. The key felt heavy as it turned in the ignition. The engine sputtered but caught. I looked ahead. The road wasn't the same. A sign for Simi Valley, a town I recognized. But the road was all wrong. My head spun, a fresh wave of despair washing over me. I drove aimlessly until I found a 76 gas station. The lights and people there seemed unreal. I tried to speak, but only a whisper came out. After that night, driving at night became a nightmare. Every shadow on the road, every distant headlight, makes me break out in a cold sweat. The silence in the car suffocates me. The GPS, which used to be my guide, turned into a monster. Every instruction makes me shake, afraid of being thrown onto an endless road again. The rearview mirror haunts me. I see shadows in the back seat, but every time I turn, there's nothing there. It's torture. The lullaby. It plays in my mind, a cold whisper that makes the back of my neck prickle. Always there. The question chases me. Was it real? Or did I just go crazy? The fear of the answer paralyzes me. I don't know what's worse. This doubt eats at me. I don't take night rides anymore. I avoid my friends. Nobody would understand my fear. My name is Ethan. I'm 34, and I'm a data analyst. My routine was flawless. Alarm at 6, coffee, reading the news on the Wall Street Journal app on my tablet. At work, reports and data meticulously checked, files in alphabetical order. I liked having everything under control. My life was a logical sequence, a safe haven. Late-night drives on the road were my thing. Silence and darkness. My Tesla Model 3, a safe cocoon. The routine calmed me. I remembered a Ouija board incident from my teens. A dumb game, but that cold shiver and the feeling of wrongness never quite went away. I was driving, relaxed, mind clear. The radio was low. The darkness outside was just peace. No warning signs, but that Ouija board memory, an old chill, was already putting a crack in my logic, making me doubt reality. In the rear view, a fleeting glow appeared and vanished, a light that shouldn't have been there. I blinked, tried to focus, but the image quickly disappeared. I felt a flicker of doubt. Minutes later, a weird hum started vibrating from the back. It wasn't the engine, it was from the chassis. Almost inaudible, I felt it in my spine. It stopped. I tensed up, chest tight, and invisible pressure intensified. I felt a cold on the back of my neck, even with the heater on. The rear view mirrors were empty. The shiver got me. On the dark bend of GA 120, headlights appeared. They moved erratically, flashing, and seemed to appear and disappear without logic. My stomach dropped. I slowed down, confused, heart pounding. My head screamed fatigue, illusion. But the sequence, the glow, the hum, the cold, the erratic headlights, it just dismantled all logic. Explanations failed. The discomfort turned into a cold fear, stealing my peace. I felt cold sweat trickle down my back. The speedometer climbed, but the light behind me didn't shrink. It was stuck to me like a shadow. My eyes burned, fixed on the rear view, waiting for the crash that never came. Only pure panic filled me with each passing second. The light, not just bright, felt like it was getting inside my head, messing everything up. A cold crept up my spine, not from the wind, but from inside, paralyzing me. I struggled to breathe, the steering wheel slipping in my sweaty hands. That thing was invading me completely, not just the road. Then, the giant light reached me. No crash, no sound. Just a wave of cutting cold that went right through me, the car, and me. I felt a hole open in my chest, an icy void that stole my breath. That light thing passed, and I glimpsed nothing. It vanished completely, like it had never been there. I stayed there, body shaking, heart racing, mind paralyzed by a panic that wouldn't leave. I slammed on the brakes. The Tesla screeched, Fishtailed to a stop. My head was spinning, vision blurry. Cold and silence consumed me. My phone had no signal, the screen dark. I tried to call, but my voice was just a whisper. Nobody would hear. The loneliness swallowed me. In the darkness, a headlight appeared, coming fast. My already weak heart raced again. It was a truck. A rugged pickup truck pulled over. The driver, some middle-aged guy in a baseball cap, asked if I was all right. My voice wouldn't come out. He just shook his head and drove off. I was left alone. I got back in my car. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel. I started the engine. The road was a blur. I just drove. I got home to Marietta, but it wasn't the same. The shock paralyzed me. Everything felt weird, distant, like I wasn't really there. My hands trembled on the steering wheel, gripping it tight. The air in the car had felt thick, icy. A part of me was gone, an inexplicable emptiness. It wasn't just a scare. It was the certainty that the world wasn't the same anymore. The invasion left a hole, a panic that just refused to lessen. The rearview mirror, a constant reminder, an icy uncertainty stuck to my skin. Fear became a silent passenger. The emptiness of the house in Marietta, the silence, and the cold from the road, they suffocated me. Bedtime turned into insomnia and panic. No peace, just vigilance. Avoiding rearview mirrors became a phobia. Headlights invaded reflections, mirrors, windows. I checked everything compulsively. My head wouldn't stop. Logic was gone. Had I gone crazy? The trauma echoed, sabotaging every thought. The memory of that Ouija board hit me again. That adolescent shiver of wrongness, when we thought it was just a game. It wasn't. That night opened a door. Now, the invasion wasn't just of the road, but of my life, of my perception. Peace and security were gone, taken by this inexplicable cold. Words just vanished. Nobody would believe me. They'd call me crazy. Fear isolated me. I carried everything alone. Work in Midtown Atlanta became torture. Each day, a failed attempt to act normal. The uncertainty devoured me, a cold shadow in my routine. No peace. My name is Mitch Harrison. I'm 48, and I'm a long-haul trucker. The road is my routine. Diesel, engine, the changing landscape. I haul freight, stopping at truck stops for coffee and a rest. I sleep in the cab, ready for another sunrise. This life, with its endless miles and sunrises, was all I knew. The loneliness of the road always brought the shadow of my son Ethan. We don't talk anymore. I was an absent father. The guilt stays with me. Blackwood Pass, known for its stories, was just another local legend to me. No real danger. I'd driven through it hundreds of times. That night, my rig cut through the darkness of Blackwood Pass. The silence in the cab is my sanctuary. Suddenly, a loud bang. The tire blew out, and the truck stopped dead. In the silence that followed, a child's cry came from the woods. My body froze right there. And then, a guttural laugh echoed. That deep, guttural laugh still buzzed in my ears. I was frozen up, my mind trying to rationalize. An animal, the wind, or just my own imagination. The uncertainty ate away at my reason. It wasn't a child's cry. It was something that chilled me to the bone and knocked me off my feet. The silence that came after didn't calm things down one bit. It felt heavy, like it was crushing me. The leaves were still, no wind. The air smelled weird, like wet dirt and iron, made my stomach turn. The darkness outside felt like it was watching me. The image of Ethan, my son, popped into my mind. That cry, even if it was fake, it poked at an old wound I carried. I had to see, prove there was no kid out there. Against all reason, I grabbed the heavy flashlight from the passenger seat. The flashlight beam cut through the black. I swept the edge of the woods. At the very limit of my vision, something moved. A low, undefined shape, gone fast. I blinked, throat dry. Was the tension just making me see things? Guilt pushed me into the woods. The flashlight was shaking in my hand. The darkness was thick. The shadows seemed to shift, watching me. My mind, already messed up, turned every sound into whispers. The search for the kid became an obsession, eating at me, making me doubt what was real. A child's cry, close and sharp, ripped through the silence. A twisted vibration prickled the back of my neck. An irresistible pull took over. Felt like Ethan calling me. It was like the voice played on the dad guilt I carried, and my instinct to protect. It dragged me deeper into the pass, away from the rig, straight into what felt like a trap, lost in all that uncertainty and dread. The flashlight beam cut through the dark, and I froze. Not a kid, but a crouching, misshapen figure, with eyes that caught the light in an inhuman way. That thing's deep, guttural laugh confirmed the horror I didn't want to believe. My heart pounded. Air left my lungs. Panic took over. It wasn't an illusion. It was real. A living, terrible thing. The creature moved fast, with unsettling speed, circling me in a blink. The guttural murmur filled my mind, not my ears. "Ethan, you failed," the voice echoed, piercing my chest, stoking the guilt. I swung the heavy flashlight. A raw scream ripped from my throat. I just wanted it gone, to stop eating at me. Fear froze me, but a weird anger pushed me to fight back, against this thing attacking me from the inside. The flashlight was useless. Invisible claws squeezed my mind. A pain from inside, not a cut, felt my chest rip. I fell, dragging myself across the damp dirt, my body heavy, head buzzing. The thing laughed. Its laugh followed me. I just wanted to run, get back to the rig, away from that torment. Fear drove a blind escape. The laugh turned into a drawn-out whisper. The mental pain and chest pressure vanished, like the creature just evaporated. I stayed there, heavy, breathing hard. On shaky legs, I stumbled out of the woods. The weak light of the truck's headlights was a haven. I just wanted distance from that dread. I threw myself into the cab. The door slammed shut. Turned the key. My body shook, hands sweaty. I was safe, but the child's cry still clung to my mind. My phone had no signal, no one to call, and who'd believe a story like that? The darkness outside just amplified my loneliness and what I felt. Huddled there, I waited for the sun. Every sound or shadow in the woods brought back that guttural laugh. My peace was gone. The sun didn't make it better. The green woods, once just scenery, turned into a dark, threatening place. The road, my home, now felt like a corridor full of dangers. Every trip is torture. The sounds from the woods chill me to the bone. The cab, once my refuge, now just reminds me how fragile I am. What happened follows me every mile. The cry and the laugh stuck in my mind. Every snapping twig, every gust of wind brings that night back. I can't tell what's real from what's just trauma anymore. I live on edge. Every sound is torment. My dad instinct turned to poison. A child's cry freezes me, doesn't draw me in. Pleas for help fill me with dread. I've isolated myself. I distrust everything, even my own mind. No one could explain it. The cops found nothing. What was that thing? It haunts me. Why me? The uncertainty is a torment that condemns me to loneliness and constant vigilance. There's no peace. My name is Ethan Reed. Nights are my domain, the steering wheel my steady companion. I drive the quiet streets of Chicago, Route 170, Belmont Avenue, under the pale glow of streetlights. Anonymous passengers get on and off, each with their own destination. A predictable routine for a CTA graveyard shift driver. Now, every passenger in the rearview mirror brought her face, chilling me to the bone. I cranked the radio all the way up, but the damp earth smell lingered, trapped in the cabin and in my own head. That damp earth smell became torture, a constant reminder of the decaying face, of life draining away. How could I tell anyone? Nobody would believe me. My solitude turned into an abyss. I pushed everyone away. Fear ate at me. Empty streets became a dark labyrinth. Shadows shifted, watching. The silence was crushing. One night, for no reason, I stopped at a deserted bus stop out near Lincoln Park, a place where no one ever waited. A bone-chilling, unnatural cold filled the cabin, even with the heater on full blast. It wasn't the wind, it was something else, freezing me to my bones. Suddenly, a woman was just there, standing at the bus door. She didn't make a sound getting on, not even a squeak. She just appeared, like she'd sprouted from the ground, under the faint streetlight. She held out her hand, and in it was a coin that looked ancient, corroded by time. I'd never seen anything like it. When I took it, I felt an icy, almost inhuman cold shoot up my arm, raising goosebumps on my neck. Then she spoke, a voice like a frozen whisper. Graceland Cemetery Gate. My heart hammered. The request was so strange, so macabre, it caught in my throat. The bus went silent. The engine's rumble vanished, and the rain outside seemed to have stopped. A heavy silence swallowed me, louder than anything. I felt a chill run down my spine, and panic gripped my chest. My fingers trembled, wouldn't obey. Cold sweat ran down, blurring everything. My throat was dry, a tight knot. I tried to shift gears. Useless. It's just fatigue, I mumbled. But my voice was weak. Her presence behind me, heavy and silent, chilled my skin. Muscles rigid. Steering wheel welded to my hands. My stomach churned. It wasn't just the decaying face, the gray, torn skin, empty eyes, black pits. She floated, feet in the air, a macabre smile. I felt my blood run cold. A shiver crawled up my spine. Unprecedented dread invaded me, pinning me to the seat. The real horror, right there, in the rearview mirror. The damp earth smell intensified, a sickly sweet decay that turned my stomach. A cutting cold pierced my bones. The heater made no difference. The silence, the most terrifying thing, muffled the outside world, sealing off the bus. My ears buzzed, trapped in that tomb on wheels. I tried to scream, my voice caught in my throat. Arms immobile, hands welded to the steering wheel. Feet stuck to the pedals, no response. I struggled internally, a silent, desperate fight, as terror crushed every thought. She, floating with that face, the only real thing. My bus, once a sanctuary, had become a metal cell, an unbreakable prison. Her voice, icy, whispered, eternal solitude. It wasn't hers, it was mine. A macabre echo of my own soul. She dissolved into the air, as if she'd never existed. The damp, heavy earth smell choked me. The cold froze me. The coin in my hand, heavy and icy, the only real thing. I was alone, but with a permanent distrust. My body convulsed. I choked, gasping for air. The coin slipped from my trembling hand, clinking onto the floor. The sound echoed in the silence. The engine came back on, strange and menacing. Legs trembling, I stomped on the accelerator. The bus tires squealed, taking off. I wanted to escape that smell, that image. The rearview mirror, a black hole, held my gaze. Later, the coin was there. The icy metal burned my palm. The only proof of the unreal, a cold weight in my pocket, a macabre secret. I picked up the radio. My voice failed. A ghost paid me with an ancient coin? It was useless to try and explain. The silent radio sealed my isolation, an accomplice to the secret. The sun rose, but nothing brightened. Every shadow was her. My routine turned into a vigil, a macabre distrust. Rain or the damp earth smell. She appears. Her face in the rearview mirror gnaws at my peace and solitude. The coin, hidden, a constant weight, a macabre talisman of the invasion, reminds me of my powerlessness. I can't get rid of it. I tried to tell people, but their disbelief isolated me. It was a burden only I carried, the macabre truth. My bus, once a sanctuary, became a trap. Every stop, every shadowy figure on the street sent a shiver down my spine. The cursed rearview mirror, always waiting for her. Eternal solitude, her phrase haunts me. No answers, only uncertainty remains. A fear that consumes me. Now, any noise makes me jump. Shadows dance, and every passenger is a threat. Peace is gone. Only paranoia remains.